Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, tonight, Bloodbath and Beyond brings to you the review of Monster Brawl.
This movie is about a bunch of classic monsters fighting to the death in a wrestling ring. So what do we like about this movie?
Dave Foley.
Dave Foley and the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
The commentary throughout the whole thing was the funniest part and best part about this movie.
I've hated mummies my whole life.
If you love puns, this is the movie you want to see, because there's tons of puns in this movie.
She's revamped now, Sid, and on the attack as she moves in.
I liked the gore also. The gore and the deaths slash wrestling maneuvers that they pulled off. I think those were pretty sweet.
I loved that they made this a wrestling fight. Like, it was like watching a wrestling pay-per-view.
I did like the backstories that they gave on the wrestlers, though. They did some creative twists on them, especially with the swamp thing.
And this swamp gut is not above scavenging from a corpse.
I loved the, like, Mortal Kombat style commentating in the match. Like, just dropping, like, magnificent or, like,
super combo.
Pathetic.
Incredible.
That's credited as God voice.
I enjoyed that Kevin Nash had a cameo in this. He delivered his lines perfectly and was hilarious as a manager and a wrestler.
No review would be complete without mentioning the beautiful women in the movie. The ring girls were definitely top-notch, both of them. Do we have any favorite kills?
It's going to be the best one in the movie, which is obviously Frankenstein ripping off Werewolf's head and just rips his whole face apart, and that's it.
I guess my favorite kill is going to go out to Zombie Man's death. Frankenstein again. He's taking all the kills here. Just stomps on his head, and you see like the whole like squish and blood just shooting out. It was really cool.
I guess I'd have to give mine to the werewolf then, since the other two better ones are taken. When he was on the top ropes and they like showed him in front of the full moon, I thought that was clever.
I think a notable one goes early on with Cyclops, because we got to see really cool practical effects. Herb Dean, he had slit to the throat with a hatchet. Cyclops beat down Witch Bitch with a sledgehammer.
That was really fucking funny.
Then he used his laser beam and we saw a face melt. And to top it all off, he even uppercut punched the troll and we saw his head go flying.
The grub, not the troll. She had derogatorily called him the troll.
Oops.
What didn't we like about this movie that pitted classic monsters in a wrestling ring?
I didn't like that it was just monsters fighting in a ring. An hour and a half of it, it gets boring as shit. When it got to the heavyweight matches, I was bored of it. And when they tried to bring in Kevin Nash again, I'm like, no, please, no.
I felt that this movie would have been good with only 4 monsters. 3 simple matches, 4 monsters, that's it.
I'm disappointed that they didn't show all the fights. I wanted to see the lightweight champions. I wanted to see 2 more fights. I don't get why Dave Foley was like drinking through the movie. He didn't get particularly extra drunk. It was just something they added in. I guess it wasn't funny enough to be necessary.
I disliked the swamp creature's costume. I felt some of the costumes could have been a little bit better. Frankenstein's monster, they could have done a little more with the makeup and the effects. Even Lady Vampire, I didn't necessarily like her makeup on her face.
But Swamp Gut's makeup was like a big baggy like garbage bag. They've made him a big fat guy just to say that he's Swamp Gut. And the teeth around his mouth looked fucking ridiculous.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings.
This movie was about what I expected. It was monsters fighting in a ring. It was funny. It had some decent kills, better than I expected, but not as many wrestling moves as I would have liked. I mean, there wasn't even a goddamn tombstone pile driver, for Christ's sakes. What's the deal? I got really bored at the end. It's not my type of flick. I'm gonna give this movie 2.3 tombstones out of 5, for lack of a better object.
I'm not a fan of wrestling, but I still like this movie. I thought it was funny, really creative, good backstories. Yeah, I definitely, like Jay, got bored halfway through. I'm gonna rate this movie 3.9 missed mummy unraveling opportunities out of 5.
Being a fan of wrestling and old school monster movies, this movie was everything I expected it to be. It was monsters and they were fighting each other. I laughed and I was entertained, but again, halfway through, it just was on for a little too long and got a little repetitive. So that being said, I'm going to rate this 3 figure 4 leg locks out of 5.
That's what we thought about the movie. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like this video, sub to the channel, and send us any requests for movies to review. This was actually a request for a movie from Dark Wings UI TV. Thank you, sir.